Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Fox with WESH 2 News and WESH.com, and this is a debate in the Florida House District 40 race in Orange County. District 40 covers communities from those near Edgewater High School, Lake Fairview, west to State Road 429 in Ocoee, and from Colonial Drive north to the Seminole County line and around the 414 Toll Road area. The candidates in the Democratic primary are LaVon Bracey Davis and Melissa Myers. The winner will face the Republican Nate Robertson in the November general election. And thank you, ladies, for both being here so voters can get to know you better so that they can make a choice in House District 40. First, I want to give you each a chance to, for a minute, explain why you're in the race, a little bit about your experience, and we'll start with Ms. Bracey Davis.
Thank you, Greg. My name is LaVon Bracey Davis. I am a resident of Ocoee, Florida. I am an arts advocate and, most importantly, a community and public servant. I'm a graduate of Dr. Phillips High School, Howard University, and the inaugural class of Florida A&M University College of Law. I am the wife of a pastor. I am a former Department of Children and Families attorney, where I championed for the safety and permanency of Florida's abused, neglected, and abandoned children. Currently, I am the Senior Director of Community Programming of Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts, where I partner with over 600 small businesses, arts organizations, and corporations that feed millions of dollars in our Central Florida economy and help with the institutional diversity, equity, and inclusion platforms and efforts of the Dr. Phillips Center. I am also a board member for PACE Center for Girls, where I try my best to help girls who've experienced trauma find their greatness. I'm a 9-year Florida State Legislative appointee for the Florida Council on Arts and Culture, where I advise the Secretary of State, rank, and allocate over $40 million of grant funding annually. I'm a 4-year volunteer and mentor for Take Stock in Children, that's Valencia College program, and I am a mentor for that program. I am excited for the opportunity to go to Tallahassee and be a champion for the issues relating to affordable housing, women's rights, civil rights, employment, affordable health care, education, economic development, and equity. A vote for me is a vote for progress. Thank you, and I look forward to further sharing my innovative ideas with you.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Myers, I'm going to give you closer to 2 minutes there. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa S. Myers. I am born and raised here in Orange County. I have been in the field of HR and recruiting for the past 20 years. I'm a small business owner as I own my own staffing firm right here in Orlando. I am an author for a self-help book called Making Success a Reality. As you watch these debates, you will be presented with a lot of what I will do when I get into office. What sets me apart from many other candidates is the work that I have done and continue to do in our communities without the political title. I've championed and stood up for women dealing with domestic violence. I've advocated for more opportunities for small business owners. I've partnered with our local police department, creating events to bridge the gap between our police officers and our communities. I've partnered with local churches to provide food for families in need. I've advocated for the Ocoee firefighters for fair wages, proper physicals, and equal opportunities. And the list goes on. I ask today, you look past the canned political responses and look for transparency, genuine nature, and honesty, because that is what you will receive from me today. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your opening statements. I think voters get a good sense of what a candidate's priorities are by the bills that they file. We'll stick with Ms. Myers here. Can you tell us exactly what would be the first bill you would file and why?
You know what, that is such a difficult question because there are 3 I'm actually working on right now. I've already started writing my 90-day plan, and those 3 bills are career development, affordable housing, and creating a senior task force for our seniors. So if I would have to say one takes precedence, I would say affordable housing right now.
All right, Ms. Bracey Davis, what would be the very first bill you would file?
Thank you for that question. It would definitely have something to do with the economics and the economic disparity that's going on right now in the state of Florida. We are in an affordable housing crisis, and we need to deal with it, the shortage. I would work on incentivizing construction workers and builders and contractors so that they would have incentives to help with the affordable housing crisis. Also, I would propose something as it relates to landlords so that that they are incentivized so that we could help with the rent issue that's going on right now. And then perhaps I would further have some issue with the rating of the Sadowski Fund. We would ensure that the Sadowski Fund is left alone so that it could be used for its purpose, and of course that is affordable housing. So yes, affordable housing, and then also the economic issues that are here in the state of Florida right now. People need help. We are in dire economic times. So something as it relates to the economic issues, on day one I will hit the ground running.
So let me continue with you on this conversation. Republicans have been in charge in this state since the mid to late 90s. So, I mean, you're in a situation where if you're going to Tallahassee, you may be working in the minority party. How do you get some of these things done? How do you ensure Sadowski is fully funded? How do you get your priorities across and work across the aisle to do that?
Working across the aisle is imperative. It's 100% imperative. And that's why I think I am unequivocally qualified for this position, because I can do just that. My brother is Senator Randolph Bracy, and he is the most effective Democrat that has been in the state legislature this last term. And he did this yet. He worked across the aisle, and I will continue with those efforts. I am already a legislative appointee. I was appointed to work for the Florida Council on Arts and Culture as a volunteer in the middle of a Republican-led legislature. And I was recommended by the Speaker of the House one year and by the Senate President another year. So I already know how to navigate in uncharted territories. I already know how to navigate with the other side, and I'm ready to do that.
Ms. Myers, convince voters in District 40 that you can work across the aisle to get things done.
So one thing that I have noticed just working out in the communities, I've noticed that Republicans and Democrats, they want the same things, but their difference of opinion on how to get there is just different, right? And I do have the ability to work across the aisle, as I am currently working with individuals from opposite parties from me, advocating in our communities.
Ms. Myers, a clear divide, though, you would agree, is now we're in the middle of another court battle over a 15-week abortion ban that, as we record this debate, took effect. Then a judge filed an injunction to block it. Now that's being appealed, so that's stayed. There's a lot of confusion going on for women who want to make decisions about their pregnancies. What is your plan going forward if you're sent to Tallahassee to address what appears to be an eroding of those rights?
No woman should be told what to do with their bodies, hands down. Elected officials aren't telling a man to do what to do with their bodies, so they shouldn't tell a woman what to do with theirs. You know, our government fails to properly prioritize the issues at hand. Why will we make it so difficult to receive birth control when we fail to keep the children that we have now alive, when we're dealing with mass shootings? So what I will continue to do is champion for women's rights and their choice their choice on birth control options, and any medical decisions is based on that woman as well as the medical profession.
All right, Ms. Bracy Davis, what exactly would be your plan if you are sent to Tallahassee to address abortion rights the way they are now, and what some in the Republican Party may want to do to continue to erode those rights?
First of all, I know how Republicans think, but my gut says that this 15-week abortion ban needs to be repealed, first of all. I think it's so disappointing. We know that most women don't even know that they're pregnant by 15 weeks, so that needs to be repealed. The Supreme Court has determined that this is now a state issue, and I think we need to address it. Quite honestly, legislators, the Supreme Court, the government, the governor has no business in my body. I had an opportunity on yesterday to speak at an abortion rally in front of the Orange County Courthouse, and I said just that. Elected officials don't have any business in my body. It's none of their business. And what I do with my body as a woman should not be legislated, should not be discussed in courtrooms. It should be between me and my doctor. And I will further advocate for that. I've been endorsed by Ruthless, which is an organization that advocates for women and women's rights and the right to an abortion. And I believe that women should be able to have that right. And I will take that message all the way to Tallahassee.
Let's stick with Ms. Bracy Davis for a second here. Some would describe a culture war going on in Florida, the Stop Woke Act, the Parental Rights and Education Act, or as some would call it, the Don't Say Gay bill. Are we in a culture war, and what exactly do Democrats do about that, those who go to Tallahassee?
We are in a culture war, and I think we need to call it out just like it is. We're dealing with a somewhat racist agenda from Governor DeSantis. At the end of the day, I believe that we should support marginalized communities, whether that be minority communities, Black and brown communities, the LGBTQ communities. I support them and I support their efforts. And this Don't Say Gay bill is unfortunate because I support the LGBTQ community, and I think it's unfortunate for the LGBTQ children. As it relates to the Woke Act, or the act that Governor DeSantis signed into law, it too is unfortunate because it's dealing with something that is a non-issue. Critical race theory, I am a graduate of FAMU Law, and I didn't learn of critical race theory until I was in law school. The fact of the matter is we can't unwrite and we can't change history, and we need to teach history. It is very, very important. And I understand that some of history makes people uncomfortable, but it's time that we get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
So, Ms. Myers, you know, and also part of that is, you know, you have companies now that are concerned, some of them who have filed suit about not being able to do diversity training, for example, maybe not diversity education in our schools. Curriculum is being challenged. What, if you're elected, would you do about that?
This is something that I will continue to push for. I definitely will have to agree with my opponent on this. You know, you can't erase history. You know, this is something that needs to be taught and educated. Our children are being educated on the history of the Caucasian race. Well, why can't our children be taught the full history when it comes down to Black history? That's something that we need to continue to push for. You know, I spoke about this publicly when it comes down to critical race theory. You know, we as African Americans have been you know, ridiculed, you know, for our skin color. You know, we have been ridiculed for the sizes of our noses and our lips, you know, made to feel that we're not beautiful or we're not deserving of certain things. And our children need to be educated on their true history.
We're about midway through our debate. I really want you to try to, if you can, focus your answers to distinguish how you're different from each other, because it may be difficult for people to be able to say, well, who should I pick? Who should I pick? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. Yes. How are you most different from Ms. Bracy Davis, either in your leadership style or your agenda or your priorities?
I would say I am different when it comes down to my work in the community. I am a grassroots, boots on the ground individual. I've been in Orange County all my life. I've been a community leader for the past 10 years, you know, whether or not it's going before the city commission, whether or not it's, you know, teaching free classes, you know, being a small business owner, advocating for those in our communities. I am someone that is known to do the work in the community. I don't come from a long list of accolades. I don't come from a well-known name family. You know, I am someone who have single-handedly, you know, done the work in the community and will continue to do the work. Not because I'm associated with any groups. You know, everyone knows Melissa Myers as the one who does the work in the community.
All right, Ms. Bracy Davis, how, either in your leadership style, experience, how are you most different from your opponent?
I love that question because unlike Ms. Myers, I am also a community leader, but I also can work on a state level as well. My leadership is just this. I already mentioned that my work at the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts, my partnership with over 600 businesses and organizations. I've done everything from multiple food drives and backpack drives and clothing drives, especially in the middle of COVID. But also I brought funding back to the Central Florida area. I was on the council that brought $50 million to the state for African American museums and grants. I brought tens of millions of dollars right here in Central Florida for the arts community, but at the same time was able to do food drives, and at the same time was able to do vaccination drives. So the beauty in LaVon Bracy Davis is not just what I can do on the community level, it's not just the grassroots, it's not just the being able to pull up my sleeves and work on the ground, but being able to bring money and resources back to this community on a state and even a federal level. I can do both.
Ms. Myers, she did mention your name. You got 45.
Well, I do have a concern with Mrs. Bracy Davis. My opponent took $2,000 from the same political committees that donated $150,000 to Republican Governor DeSantis' reelection efforts. Now, while my opponent states that she champions for women's rights in the LGBTQ+ community, these committees are supporting Ms. Bracey, is supporting the same governor who championed the Don't Say Gay bill and is the complete opposite when it comes down to a woman's rights to choose. Now, along with that, Mrs. Bracey Davis has received over $12,000 from Tallahassee special interest groups and lobbyists, and took donations from political committees that gave more than $200,000 to Republican committees and candidates. My questions: whose side are you really on? What promises did you make to get these donations? Because normally, when you receive a donation from a campaign, that's a handshake to say that you are on the same page.
Ms. Bracey Davis, 45 seconds.
I have no idea what she's referring to. However, what I'd like to talk about is the 200+ community people that have donated to my campaign. The 10, the 20, the 30, the $40 that they've said that I've determined to be an endorsement of my campaign. This campaign is the people's campaign. It's been endorsed by the people, and I'm thankful for all of the donations from the different people that have donated to this campaign. I'm unsure what she speaks of as she relates to big businesses, but know that I cannot be bought. My positions are firm, and I will go to Tallahassee and express my positions. I cannot be bought. This community knows me. They know what I will do, and I can't wait to go to Tallahassee to advocate on behalf of the least of these, the marginalized, the underserved, the voiceless. And I'm excited to do that, and I'm thankful for all of the donations, especially those community groups, especially those individual citizens, those working class that donated to my campaign.
All right, Ms. Bracey Davis and Ms. Myers, certainly voters can go to the publicly accessible website for the Division of Elections, and they can look up both of your contribution records. Yes. Let's talk about gun violence here. We'll stick with Ms. Bracey Davis for a second. After the massacre in South Florida in 2018, a number of laws were enacted, including a red flag law that's now been used 8,000 times to remove firearms from people who are either dangerous to themselves or to others. Does that need to be strengthened? What needs to be added? Or perhaps do some of those measures need to be repealed? What would you do?
I'm thankful for the red flag law, quite honestly. I'm thankful for the change in the age in the red flag law, because I think that was very important. I'm also thankful for the policy and procedure that a police officer can go to a judge and say, I think this person needs to not have a gun. And I think it was a great law. We know that there was a lot of amendments to that law. I'm really surprised, quite honestly, that the Florida legislature, especially Florida being so conservative, I'm surprised that the Florida legislature actually passed the red flag law. I think it's a good law. There's always room for improvement. I am an advocate for gun reform and gun safety. I think our people need to be safe. Our students need to be safe. I don't think people need to have military assault rifles. I think there's no reason for military assault rifles in the home.
Okay, so before I go to Ms. Myers, so are you saying that you would file a bill that would remove assault weapons, large capacity magazines? Can you be more specific?
I absolutely would.
You would?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Myers, how about you on gun violence?
I am a licensed to carry gun owner. I don't want my Second Amendment right taken away because the government has failed to enforce extensive checks to prevent premature gun ownership. With that, like for example, if an individual obtains a medical marijuana card, they will not be able to renew or obtain a gun license. So if someone is dealing with mental health illnesses, they should not be able to purchase a gun, let alone be licensed to carry. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. With that, I feel that we should implement the same way I had to go through training to get my gun license. It should be the same training and the same background checks to be able to purchase a gun.
Let me move on to Medicaid. Right now, 1.4 million people in this state do not have coverage because they're in a gap for coverage because the state has not opted in. One of the 12 in the U.S. that has not voted to expand and accept Medicaid expansion. Right. Again, dealing with if you're elected, if Republicans remain in charge, what do you do about it? What's your plan to get those coverages?
I am for expansion in Medicaid. I am for everyone, honestly, to receive free medical care, but it's a slippery slope. If Medicaid is expected to do more than what it really is, what it's doing already, it could bankrupt the Medicaid system. So with that, with careful consideration, we need to add any type of Medicaid payouts, that won't do irreparable harm to the Medicaid program. Ultimately, we need to maintain and establish Medicaid payout processes, and that will permit greater longevity of the Medicaid program.
So if I understand you correctly, you are not in favor and would not vote for Medicaid expansion?
I'm for it if it financially makes sense, because if we're not in budget for it, we don't want to bankrupt the Medicaid program altogether. It has to make financial sense.
Okay, Ms. Bracy Davis, on Medicaid, do you vote for expansion or no, and why not?
100% for expansion. I totally disagree with my opponent. I think Medicaid should be expanded. I'm really disappointed that we left money on the table with the Affordable Care Act. I think it should be expanded. And unfortunately, our Republican counterparts did not see to expand it, but I think it absolutely should. And if it doesn't get expanded, I think we need to be creative, perhaps with incentives, pharmaceutical incentives, or creative with some funding and incentives or money for telehealth. But I absolutely do believe that Medicaid should be expanded, and when I go to Tallahassee, I will vote for it immediately.
All right, we have just a few minutes left. I'm going to get one quick question in, if you can be brief. Ms. Bracy Davis, right now, the poverty rate in Orange County is 16%. What would be your plan to bring industry that creates higher paying jobs in Orange County?
Thank you for the question. That is so very important. You get what you put in. I think big name companies need to come to District 40, and they also need to come with high paying salaries. We also need to incentivize them to come. There needs to be put some money on the table to come to District 40, because everybody moves with incentives such as tax credits or creative partnerships. So I absolutely do think that companies need to come to District 40, because I think it will help with the employment issue. It will help with the shortage on affordable housing issue. It will. It's one thing to have labor jobs, and we understand labor jobs; those are great. But we also need some high salary, high wage jobs to come in, because that will feed and fuel and move the economy very quickly.
All right, Ms. Myers, in boosting the economy, especially right there in the center of Orange County, what's your plan?
I somewhat disagree with Mrs. Bracy Davis when it comes down to inviting companies to come out in the beginning. We need to attack the affordable housing first, because the inventory is so low when it comes down to housing. If we invite more companies to come here, that's going to cause more people to live here. And at that point, where are they going to live? Now, once we tackle that, we're able to invite companies out to say, hey, come to Florida. Disney was supposed to expand out in Lake Nona, but because of the reduced inventory that we have in real estate, they're unable to. So we need to tackle the affordable housing in order that'll be a way to push economic growth as well.
All right, we've got, she mentioned Ms. Bracy Davis. Go ahead, you've got 45 seconds.
Just two things as it relates to the housing shortage and the affordable housing. There are some programs that are in place that I will leverage my voice to expand. The Hometown Heroes program, which I have already lended my voice to expand that program and to get people knowledgeable of that program. They are offering down payment assistance for Hometown Heroes, and also the Homeowners Assistance Fund, which people don't know about, but there's millions of dollars readily available for the Homeowners Assistance Fund for down payment assistance, for mortgage insurance, for taxes, for mortgage, for utilities. And those are wonderful programs that already exist today that I will work to expand, and I will lend my voice to ensure that the community is aware of them.
All right, thank you. Our time is short. We're going to go to a 1-minute close. We'll begin with Ms. Myers.
Okay. I ask for your vote. When you vote for Melissa S. Myers, I want you to imagine it is your name that you are choosing. You are choosing advocacy for our seniors and our youth. You are choosing advocacy for our returning citizen. You are choosing more resources for those who are suffering from mental health illnesses. You are choosing more funding for career development programs because not every high school student is college bound. You are choosing a fight for small businesses. When you vote for Melissa S. Myers, you will receive equal representation for College Park, Lockhart, Pine Hills, and Ocoee, where one area won't receive more attention than the other. You are choosing a friend and a partner in Tallahassee that understands the sense of urgency to turn the state of our economy around and not be bought by political groups. Can you imagine, with all that I have done without a political title, what I will be able to accomplish for our communities when you elect me, Melissa S. Myers, as your next state representative for District 40?
All right, Ms. Bracy Davis, 1 minute, please.
Again, my name is LaVon Bracy Davis. I am running because the future of this district and state depends on the quality of leadership that we have. My skill set makes me unequivocally qualified for this job. I'm a licensed and barred attorney, mentor, advocate, community servant, champion for education and economic development. I am a fighter, and I will fight for women's rights, civil rights, employment, affordable health care, education, economic development, and equity. I am the daughter of a civil rights hero and a retired pastor and community leader. I am the wife of a community activist and pastor. I am the sister of State Senator Randolph Bracy. My truth to you is I have dedicated my life's work, personally and professionally, to this community. It's time for a fresh year, a fresh perspective, and a fresh start. Time to listen when people speak, collaborate on solutions, and get to work. On August 23rd, I humbly ask you for your vote. Put me to work. If you want to learn more about me, my website is lavonbracydavis.com. I am LaVon Bracy Davis, candidate for House District 40.
All right, thank you very much. You've been watching Melissa Myers, LaVon Bracy Davis, the Democratic candidates in House District 40 in Orange County. The election is August 23rd. The winner faces Republican Nate Robertson in the November general election. Thank you for